Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Well, hey, welcome to New Life Live. This is Dr. Sheri Keffer, and I'm not Steve, but I am here with Dr. Jacqui Mack-Harris. And
hi, Dr. Sheri.
I think Becky will be joining us shortly. We are here to be with you today. We're looking forward to taking your calls and just enjoying our time with you.
Yep. And we have some calls waiting, so
let's just dive in. Hey, Jessica. Jessica is calling from New York City, New York, and you're listening on our podcast. How can we help you today?
Yes, hi. Thank you so much for taking my call. Actually, I'm calling in for a comment I have because I think it's really important in regards to how to respond to people that are coming for being raped or sexually abused in a church setting or feel like they want to come forward with this. The reason why I'm calling is last Friday's show, somebody was calling in about her son coming forth, and the advice was, which I understand for generally people who haven't gone through this, it would make sense saying, oh yeah, it needs to be held accountable so your son will feel justice and to protect everybody. But I have to tell you from my experience a few years ago that the worst part, the worst place to come out is if it happens in your own community at church, because the resistance and like you're dealing with like a second trauma that you didn't even see coming. And so when I heard that comment, I want people to know, go outside of your church first to find support, be believed. And the first thing is safety, feeling safe, because there's a real danger of being retaliated against. And to tell people, oh yeah, just go and hold people accountable, I think is not wise, because they don't even know they're running into an open knife most of the time.
Yeah, so much, Jessica, I thank you for circling back with us. I want to hear just a bit about your story, if you're open to sharing it. But there's something that's actually called treatment trauma or community trauma, or even trauma that's experienced in a church setting, when people go to the people that they think would be there with open arms to accept them and understand, and yet they end up being unseen or missed or judged, and it is a secondary trauma. Can you tell us a little bit about your story? What happened to you?
Sure. So, and I wasn't young or so anything at the time. I was in my mid-40s, and I was raped by my friend. We were both part of the community, and what is interesting is what I didn't know before. I mean, I feel like I've gotten a PhD going through this experience at this point, unfortunately, because when you go through this experience, there are so many things that are so you wouldn't think of. But when people, when it happens, I think most people have this idea it happens with people that jump out of a bush or something. It's not. It happens with people that you know.
Yeah.
People that genuine, that people that seem kind and have a great reputation.
And people that you trusted. We're coming up on a break here, but I'm so sorry, girl, that happened to you. My heart breaks. You didn't deserve that, especially from someone that looked good in your community. When we come back, I want you to think of one thing as you've gotten your PhD that helped you the most, and then we'll hear from Jacqui as well. So stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Thank you for listening on New Life.
It had become very apparent that some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. It's just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. New Life's Every Man's Battle Workshop can help.
After 7 years, just one weekend, a completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Workshop.
He said, I think this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
Now the workshop is coming to Washington, D.C., January 6th through the 8th. Don't wait for him to call. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com.
I just can't say enough of what New Life has done for our marriage.
1-800-NEWLIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
So great to have you all back with us. We are actually talking with Jessica. And right before the break, Jessica, I had asked you, since you've gotten your PhD, right, and going through this incredible pain of being raped, but all that you've learned, can you share with us the one thing that has helped you the most?
The most was probably when I found netgrace.org. Netgrace.org is godly response to abuse in the Christian environment that helped me. Or the friends. There were a lot of different things that helped me. But the first thing was being believed. And when I came forward, and I even was telling this to a female pastor of all first, and I wasn't believed. Because a lot of people have this notion, it would just be a male or a female. Well, it had nothing to do with it.
And Jessica, we were talking during the break about sometimes when you've not experienced something and you have an image of the world or the institution of being a certain way, yes, you just can't fathom that thing could be true. And so I think we need to make the point that what you're saying is also for those of us in ministry to hear. That we need to know that when yes, someone comes to us, yes, regardless of what our perspectives are, we are the caregivers in that moment. We're the first responders.
Yes, and you know what? I think it's an educational issue. I think if more people are educated about this dynamics, the responses are going to be better. The problem I had, in the Christian community, the notion that you have to have Matthew 18 applied to something like this, it was that really spiked my PTSD. Mm-hmm. And for a Christian community even to understand that this is the worst thing you can do when somebody just experienced being raped, to put in the same room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that needs to get through to a lot of people, that it's a different situation when it comes to that.
Yeah, and sometimes I know in my life, it may be similar to you, Jessica, I never would have thought in my case that sexual betrayal through pornography, infidelity, and I was married to a pastor. I never thought for a second that very painful thing that happened would actually become a story, a platform, a place from speaking out of my pain. And who knows, Jessica, you may be that voice in the abuse community to actually help educate. And God opens doors like that. And so we want to send you a book called Take Your Life Back, and pray that bless you as you spoke with us today. Thank you for circling back. Thank you for being an advocate about helping to educate the church on best strategies for caring for people that have been raped or had things happen to them. And I hope you're a part of the solution there. Is Becky back? I want to know.
I am back.
Woo-hoo!
I am back. It is nothing short of a miracle that we make this show happen.
Yeah.
And, and thank you both for taking care of me while I was gone and
not a problem.
Couldn't get back.
Yeah, not a problem.
I just would like to go ahead and go to Judy, who's been waiting, and would love to hear from her. Her call, she's coming from Kalamazoo, Michigan, listens online, and we appreciate our online audience. And Judy, how can we help you today?
I first want to thank you guys for even doing what you do. May God continue to keep and bless you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm in a predicament that I thought I'd never have to be in. First of all, I'm still in shock. I got married when I was 21 to a gentleman, and I found God calling me a different way. So in 86, we separated, and by 91, I'd gotten a divorce, and he was like, would you still just keep my last name? We'll be together forever. I'll never marry anyone. So I started working at the hospital, moved to another city. Lo and behold, he lived 5 blocks around the corner, literally. He would try to get in contact with me, from time to time, and it just didn't work. And I went on with my life. He had kids. I still had my one. Well, we had started talking about getting together again. And I told him he needed a little time because he had lost someone that he had stayed with for many years and had children, a child. And so that's where we were. We were on, on that path. He came to my church when I got ordained as an elder. He was there for the family. We had Thanksgiving together. We had Christmas together. And I was at work, got a call from his oldest son, who I helped raise along with my son, and said, Mom, what happened to Dad? And I said, what are you talking about? Well, my other younger brother called me and told me Dad died on the boat. And I was like, okay, so this is about 2 weeks ago. CO poisoning, carbon monoxide. And I was like, okay. So I reached out to all the other kids he had, and we were okay until the younger child found our texts going back and forth. At that point, he stopped me off Facebook with my ex-husband, who I was going to marry again, and he kind of discommunicated with me and made up a bogus, which is tomorrow the service, a bogus obituary. And it's okay that he don't put me on there as an ex-wife. We're ex. We hadn't got married again yet. But he put his mom on there as the one they were married to during the time I was still married to him. My question, with all of that said, is do I get up and speak? I know my relationship with him. I know he loved me. I know we talked about me giving my son this house. He was giving his son a house. The boats they were going to split. The cars they were going to split.
Judy.
Yes.
Do you want to get up and speak?
I do want to get up and speak,
yes.
but I don't want, just like I had a hard time with saying Judy and where I was from, and that's not true. But I'm still trying to hide. I'm still trying to hide and protect the other people. I do want to speak, but what can I say?
You have to decide what you can say and what would be appropriate. It sounds like you're really conscious of not being disrespectful and you wanting to protect people, so you'll choose the right words, pray about it. You've got that connection. I know you have that open line, but you're not wrong for wanting to speak on behalf of this person you loved and did life with, even that you didn't do it consistently, but you guys had a relationship, and there's grieving happening, and who knows what's going on with the children's thinking, but that's about them. And whatever it is you want to say is about you and the relationship you had with him.
And
it's just
I would share one. I would share one.
There's a say that again, Judy.
It's just one child, the youngest one. The other ones are like, what? That's not true.
Well, that one is the one that is grieving and struggling, and so they're acting out from their pain, but you are going to take care of you because that one's not yours. And your first responsibility has to be to put your mask on first. But Dr. Sheri, you were about to say something?
Yeah, Judy, I would let go of the timeline. that's in the obituary. I would let go of any territory around your relationship. And you know what I would do? I mean, this man sounds like he loved you. Like he pursued you your whole life.
Yeah.
And I
told them all,
would focus.
he
Go ahead.
told all his children, even the young one, I love her. I'm going to be with her.
I know.
He told them.
So you honor that when you speak about him.
Yeah, and I would focus in on his character. I would focus in on the legacy. I would keep my talk very focused in on honoring him as a human being and what you want everyone to remember about him.
Because then you don't have to hide.
Yeah, don't Don't make it about you at any point. Just don't. People know the story, but just honor him.
Tell them the things that they would never know about him.
Yeah, memories.
You know, when you think about when you leave the world, we know we could do that 2-minute, right? Well, people don't usually do the 2 minutes, but we will come up and say your 2 minutes about the person.
True.
Especially ministers and pastors and elders. So, you know, right?
You stop it.
So
And what was
take
so
your 2
important to
minutes.
me
Okay, what was so important?
is letting them know, because he didn't want it at a church. He wanted it at the mortuary. Them knowing that we got to, and see, that's going to be hard, because he gave me roses and I gave him a Bible, and I reunited him back to God. And for everyone that's here, that's what I'm coming here to represent. If it was something he could say.
So then talk about his reconnection with God. Talk about how important that was to him. Keep yourself out of it, because we don't want it to, you know, sometimes people will say, oh, she made it the Judy show. So we're not going to make it the Judy show. You are going to go and honor this man and talk about how loving and wonderful he was and how much he loved the Lord and he loved his children and he loved his family and the ways in which he showed that. But honor him. You have a right to do that, and he has a right to have this woman who he loved speak about him and at his homegoing service.
Yeah, and you know, one of the big messages at funerals, Judy, is that there is hope in Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And what you just said was pretty powerful. That's what you did. You reconnected him to his faith, and anyone that's in the audience, including his children, would have that opportunity. And I think what you're saying, Jacqui, is so true. We want to make it about him. We want to celebrate his life. And, you know, I just think that's a beautiful way to honor him. We're so glad you called, Judy. Do you have something else, Jack, you wanted to add?
No, just thank you for wanting to honor him, and also thank you for the care you want to give to his son as well, that the younger child that is struggling. But everyone has their feelings, and they'll have to grieve in their way.
That's right.
But in terms of honoring him, it sounds like you've got some great things to share with the world about him.
That's right. That's right. And we're so glad you called. And we're going to send you a copy of the 1 Year Bible for Women. It's, you know, a year-long journey through the Bible. Misty Arterburn added some comments to that, and I think it'll be a blessing to you. And thanks for calling, Judy. You know, but we're going to go up against a break. So before I go to the next call, I just want to talk just a little bit about, you know, we're at the end of the year. We've got one more day. And, you know, this time of the year, we talk about resolutions, we talk about regrets, we talk about, you know, next year's going to be different. And, you know, I wonder if either one of you would suggest a next step forward for the new year, whether it's dealing with a regret or dealing with something that they've had in their minds, maybe a dream or something, or, you know, just how do they deal with being stuck in some of those places of guilt and regret?
So for me personally, when I start to feel negative emotions as the emotional avoider in recovery, those negative emotions stop me in my tracks. And so when that bug comes up and I feel some sense of shame because when regret feels like shame for me, I start asking myself why I feel this way. So I get curious, just in the same way as a therapist I would with someone sitting across from me in my office. So I treat myself that same way. I get curious and I try to look for connections to why this feels so bad. Why did I make the choices that I made, and what do I want to do different in the future? And then I wrap that into a prayer, and I start my year with a fast, and that becomes the thing that I'm in prayer about.
That's great. Sheri?
You know what? I could give you a fish, Becky, about one thing I could do, or I could say, if you're having some place in your life where you're emotionally stuck, then love yourself and sign up for the Emotional Freedom Workshop. That's going to happen.
I love that.
Well, and it's true, because you know what? We're going to teach you how to get free. Instead of just giving you one bit here on the radio, you're going to have a whole weekend where you can learn how, what are the steps to get free so that you can work through it in community. So
we have a 2-minute quiz that you could take at newlife.com to get you started in that direction. I love that idea, Sheri. And, we would love for you to join us January 21st, all day online, and it's available for you. We'll be...
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. Chris Williams on coaching.
Oftentimes I get asked, what is the difference between therapy and coaching? The biggest difference between the two is that a therapist is going to be looking for a diagnosable mental health condition, whereas a coach is going to look at a particular issue and help a person work through that.
If you need a coach, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been trained and screened with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
If you're looking at an issue in your life that you just kind of want to change, whether it be your weight or leadership or other areas of behavioral patterns, check out coaching. There can be some really, really helpful things for you.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 and talk to us about getting a New Life coach. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We are so glad you joined us on this next to the last day of 2022. Can you believe it? It just flew by. It's just crazy how fast it goes. Well, we are going to go right back to the calls. We're going to talk with Jen, who's calling us from St. Louis, Missouri, and watch us on YouTube. I love our YouTube family, and if you want to watch us there, you can, and go to New Life Live, and you'll find us there, and we've got all kinds of videos there as well. Jen, thanks for calling. How can we help you?
Thank you for taking my call. I appreciate this opportunity. I am 61. I am likely facing divorce. Horrible thought, of course. Have this situation occurred a few days ago that felt like the last straw. It's the second time he has left. One other time some months ago for several days. And I contemplated then what was God's plan. Since the return, it's been a continual, seemed to be, of him regretting that he even returned. He kept trying to work through things and stay in church, and this has ultimately come out with, he said he never should have married me in the first place. And I can't say I didn't see maybe some warning signs, but just kept feeling like I wasn't ready to be a quitter. The complicated part of it is he has a diagnosis that causes at times a lot of confusion, forgetfulness, and such. But I think I've seen a lot of the behaviors and to myself just made an excuse for it, how it affects me because of a diagnosis, because still the harshness and so forth has definitely added up and taken my self-esteem down, which I'm not going to let that happen.
Jen, can I ask you a question?
Really
Can I ask you,
Please.
how long have you guys been married?
7 years.
Okay.
So
And were
it's not
you
our
married
first time
before,
going through a
and was he
relationship.
married before?
Yes.
Okay.
And why did the marriages fail? Can you just give us an idea what happened in your prior marriage?
Well, yes. And that was the thing that we both had been through so much of the same thing. I thought we really understood a lot of that. For he and I both previously had been a very long relationship that consisted of lots of infidelity. And I left, and he stayed in that situation. Ultimately, he said for reasons he was worried about what people would think and lack of money and so forth. So it was a God will bless somebody for enduring, I guess. But once I put it together and realized how many people had probably already known it for some time, or I was blind, didn't want to think that was going on, I left. But that was each of our previous history. And I have felt a lot of times like his anger over what happened was taken out on me. Learning you've got to heal from one relationship before you get into another.
Jen, you said you had seen some red flags. Did you see these red flags before you all were married 7 years ago, or are you saying you've been seeing
Not
it
at all.
throughout the relationship?
Not at all before we got married, no.
Okay.
And it's over basically, he wanted a Christian marriage and a godly wife, which certainly doesn't mean perfection, but to me it means God comes first, then the husband and wife. Protect one another. And it's been because of comments from adult children, it seems he would rather be there.
Jen, so what is your question? What question would be the most helpful for you for Sheri and Jacqui to answer?
Well, that's good because I've already thought through the thought of going back, or I haven't even been in touch with him for a couple days. Going back, working out again, that sends a warning sign to me. Don't. Just thoughts on the next step, possibly.
Okay.
So you have thought of going back, and you're or you've thought of.
I have a red flag if I think about it, or if I think of calling him or him.
So every time
back.
it comes up, you get this red flag that says absolutely not.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What do you think that red flag is? Where do you think that's coming from?
God.
You trust God?
Warning sign.
You trust
yes,
God?
I do.
And so what's the next step? Have you asked God what the next step is?
Well, I've kept praying for my husband and his family and forgiveness in my heart.
Two things can be true at one time. You can be praying for him and want the best for him and be working towards forgiveness for him and still be looking out for yourself and taking care of yourself and focusing on what God has for you going forward.
I believe he's leading me to go to another church tonight. We have stayed in church regularly and a lot, and even changed churches a few times because of some activities that my husband wanted to be involved in. And so it's been a lot of give and take to just stay in church, though. But I believe right now God is telling me to move forward, and there's a local church. I really am going to try to
Okay,
tonight.
Jen, hold on just a second. You can hear the music. We're going to go to a break, and I want to hear what Sheri has for you after the break. It's hard to make decisions when there's a lot of chaos and a lot of pain going on, and so I appreciate you wanting to hear from God to know what the next step is. And I think, for all of us, that we've been in those places where, God, what are you doing, and what am I supposed to be doing with it? We'll be right back after the break.
My husband was involved with a pornography addiction.
He was unfaithful. I called the wedding off. He stepped out on the marriage and ended up having a child.
The Restore Workshop is designed for a woman dealing with a man's sexual addiction issues.
My husband is a recovering sex addict. There were strip clubs, other ladies.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, the Restore Workshop will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
Restore has empowered me and has given me the tools to work through my anger, work through my pain, work through my confusion, and help me realize that I am worthy.
Being here and being surrounded by people who get it has given me my power back.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Orange County, California, February 24th through the 26th. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or online at newlife.com.
Thank you, Restore. You have changed my life forever.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
You can help New Life stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of the 1-year Bible for men or the 1-year Bible for women. These Bibles combine the best-selling daily Bible reading format with 2-minute daily devotionals written to create a one-of-a-kind devotional Bible that you'll love. There are also ongoing benefits like the monthly Club New Life CD or download, access to the Club New Life video library, quarterly resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. It's always something, and that's why we are here, and we're so glad to be able to help you in wherever life is taking you. At this point, we're talking with Jen, who's been married 7 years. It's a second marriage, and is really at a crossroads. Sheri, I would love for you to give her some insight.
Yeah. Well, hey, Jen, it has to be devastating, like shattering, to have come from a long-term marriage where there was infidelity. And then to have your husband very recently, just in the last few days, rewrite history by saying that I don't love you. I should have never married you in the first place. What are you doing with those feelings? That has to be tremendous rejection. How's your heart?
Oh, and because I do not believe he feels at fault for anything, and I personally believe everyone makes mistakes in any relationship. But if he's not willing to admit any, I won't say any.
But you know what I'm wondering about? You know what I'm wondering about? I am wondering about your heart. How are you feeling? I have in my office. I just bought a big feeling pillow. It's got all these multicolors with a bunch of feelings. But can you find a feeling? Sad, mad, hurt, scared.
Shock is the biggest one.
Okay.
Even though there's been some signs a little bit here, whenever we get opportunity to go to a certain place once in a while, it was what I feel is a negative group of people, and no matter whether it is family, friends, or whoever, I believe avoiding negativity is necessary, but praying for those people.
But avoiding negativity can be actually a a form of denial or deflecting emotions, maybe deflecting sad emotions or bad emotions or negative emotions. Can you tell me a little bit about growing up? Did you grow up in a house where you felt you were not seen, heard, or known? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I felt very much not loved. I wondered for some time if I was adopted because the younger two siblings got a lot of attention. I was, and this is not feeling sorry for myself. I've tried to approach this with another friend.
But what if it is feeling sorry for yourself and that's okay?
Well,
what if it is? You don't have to. You don't have to qualify that.
Nice, Jacqui.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're in a safe place here.
Yeah. Where I was in a bedroom with a sister, my sister, and when it came night, my mother would come in and take my sister in and leave the room, and I would think, there's another person in this room.
Oh my goodness.
That was regular, and I know she. I guess I came to the conclusion that I was born really early in the marriage. I mean, about a year later, but it was a quite difficult situation for my mother, for both my parents. Mom had moved away across the state and was rejected immediately when going there to meet some new family.
Jen.
And things like that. That didn't help me change how I felt.
Right. So it's interesting that we're talking about you and your feelings and your emotions and your experience, and you begin to describe mom. You begin to describe husband, right? Rather than own your emotions and own what's going on inside of you. But I think what you were going towards, Sheri, is you never learned to trust your own instincts, your own emotions inside of you. You never were allowed to express them and have someone validate them.
Right.
And so now it's hard for you to do that, right?
Yes.
It's hard for you to feel okay feeling your feelings without explaining away what the reasons are.
Yeah.
Very much.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm wondering too, Jen, have you ever worked with a counselor at all, or like even in your previous marriage and even in this one?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
The earlier relationship, yes. Did you want me to tell about it or just?
Well, no, I just was wondering if you had you are so guarded, and I get that because you've had a lot of pain, and I think that's where you were going, Sheri. That pillow would be perfect for Jen, because how do we get to know our feelings? And I would love for you to kind of direct her in that way of maybe some steps in trying to make this decision.
Yeah, it's the first step. It might sound so simple, it's so elementary that you might not even think about writing it down. But I want you to write it down, Jen. And this is true. Number one is I have a right to feel my feelings. I have a right. I have a right to have feelings, and I have a right to feel my feelings. And number two is I can choose to stay isolated in what I do with my feelings, or I can choose to connect with somebody else and share my feelings there.
I'm just remembering something you said a couple of moments ago. You avoid negativity at all costs. Family, friends, it doesn't matter. If it's negative, you're avoiding it. You're avoiding a part of you. Because there are some emotions that might come up for you. Well, I can only imagine hearing your husband say that he shouldn't have married you and he doesn't love you. There's some negative emotions associated with that, and they don't have to be explained away. But it would be really wonderful if you could work with someone to uncover the depth of those emotions and maybe even do some some trauma work from the interpersonal trauma of your childhood.
Because being a little girl, Jen, and having your mom come in every night and tuck your other sister in, and then wait in longing, wishing, hoping that night after night that maybe she'd come your way, that maybe she'd think about you, but she didn't. That's devastating. I talk about that when I talk about the wounds of omission. That's a trauma of omission. It's the good.
Almost, I won't say she never did, but mostly not. Yes.
Okay.
And also, I never felt the love of my father until he was an alcoholic father.
Okay.
And I always longed for a hug.
Of course.
And, when you're following him out in the yard and things like that. And until I had my daughter at age 29, almost 30, and he had a grandchild. At that time, instead of just coming over where it was obvious that he was coming to see her, which was okay at the time, but one day he said, "Would you like to go to this?" It was a local activity. I thought, yeah. So the three of us went. And that was a few months before he died.
Do you know, I don't know, Jacqui and Sheri, if you agree with this, but Jen, the fact that you have this big red flag when you think about going back to your husband, it's, I think, the echo of being rejected from before. And so you just know when somebody's walking away from you, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go back into the relationship. And I don't know, Sheri and Jacqui, do you think that might be where that red flag is coming from?
Absolutely. And was it Maya Angelou who said we need to believe people when they show us who they are? And he's shown you.
It's that in the middle of the year, he did this for a few days. And then we kept in touch almost daily, just light things. And he came back.
But where did he go? Do you know where he went?
Yes, this time.
Either time.
It was the daughter, about 40 miles from home.
Have you talked to the daughter herself? Or
no.
Okay, but he told you he went to the daughter's house. I don't know, Jenna. I'm not trying to disrupt your apple cart here, because I know you have a lot of pain going on, and you have pain in your relationship with your folks, and you have pain from a past marriage with infidelity. But I can't help but sit here and hear him rewrite history with you. Like, I want you to know I never loved you, and I want you to know I should have married you. I'm sitting here going, this is what I'm saying. Who is this other person that he's seeing right now? Like, is there another woman? Is he looking at porn? Something's going on, girl, that you may not know about.
Yes. That's what he's been like a mother figure to me. The last time you left, asked me, do you think that's what's going on?
Well, you know what, Jen? I think you're going to have more clarity. We're going to send you a copy of Sheri's book, Intimate Deception, because I think that it will help you understand what's happening and lead you into some next steps. And maybe even join us at the Emotional Freedom online one-day workshop, just to get moving forward.
Great idea.
We'll be right back after this.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn from New Life Live, and Chris Williams and I are doing the Emotional Freedom Workshop. A lot of people are you could literally say, in bondage from past trauma that has created an emotional web that they don't understand, and it prevents them from being free. A person that loses their temper regularly is not emotionally free. Someone who has anxiety just to get in the car and leave the house is not emotionally free. And walking around with the shame from a childhood or even a bad relationship as an adult, that is not emotional freedom, and we can help you get there.
The New Life Emotional Freedom Online Workshop is Saturday, January 21st. Steve Arterburn, Chris Williams, and Dr. Jacqui Mack-Harris will present information on the power of our emotions, procrastination, guilt and shame, and more. And small group leaders will help you process the information you learn. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or register online at newlife.com.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again. You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Steve Arterburn here. Here is a result of your generosity. Restore has empowered me and has given me the tools to work through my anger, work through my pain, work through my confusions, and help me realize I am worthy. I do matter. Restore, you have changed my life forever. Your giving has changed her life forever.
You know, I just can't help but think of all the lives, all the testimonies that we have heard over the years because of their encounter with New Life. You know, whether it would be a workshop or maybe, you know, just the other day I was talking to somebody on the phone and they said, New Life Live saved my life. And I went, wow, that's a really big claim. And he said, it's because I was listening at a time in my life where I was at the bottom. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know who to talk to. And just by listening, I learned some steps to take forward. He got connected with a counselor, and it saved his marriage and it saved his family. And that's what your giving does. And I just want to say thank you so much to our Club New Life family who faithfully give every month and make it possible for us to do what we do every day, and that is to extend help and hope to so many people. I also want to encourage you, if you have never given before, and a lot of people, that might be you, I want you to take a risk. It doesn't have to be millions of dollars, although we would take that check. I just want to encourage you, start to give back because it really makes a difference in the lives of so many people. And especially if you've gotten anything from listening to the program, or maybe you've gone to one of our counselors, or maybe you've, checked out our articles and our resources online. I think it can make all the difference in the world in your life if you will begin to give as well. At the end of the year, it's obvious that we're going to ask for those gifts to come in, but we just appreciate everything that comes in because we know God's going to use it to change somebody's life. And we are privileged to be able to see that front row experience. And I'm so glad. We're going to take one more call before the end of the show. It's Valerie, who's calling us from Visalia, California, watches us on YouTube. And we're so glad you called. Val, how can we help you today?
Hi. So I tend to overcommit myself, and I've done it again. And I am just wondering how you go about figuring out how to slow down and kind of fall into more of a rhythm than kind of being all over the place, overcommitting and burning out.
Okay, great question. Sheri, Jacqui?
Yeah, so Valerie, growing up in your home, did you get emotional cookies for caretaking? Did you find...
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Tell us a little bit about the emotional cookies you got growing up.
Pretty much I found myself to be very annoying as a child. Like, I tended to annoy adults, and I still do sometimes. But I didn't know I had ADHD as a kid, but if I was doing something that was helping the teacher or helping my parents or helping at church, then people are cool with me. And
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What great insight. I'm so proud of you, Valerie. You know how many of us, I just want you to know, everybody who's listening to you right now is leaning in, because there are a number of us, many of us, who do exactly the same thing, because somewhere along the way, because of your ADHD and you're very busy, active, you would get in trouble or have people like push back emotionally. But when you found that you were helping equaled receiving love to you. Like if I help, I get some of the good emotions that I normally don't get when I'm just being myself with my ADHD brain. And I think a lot of parents don't realize how much negative energy goes towards their kids that have ADHD. They get frustrated easy, and so you're picking up on all that, and so you found a way to feel loved. And the challenge is you're now, as an adult, going out there doing things because you want to have cookies left for you. And it's exhausting you because there is a part of you that doesn't know what it feels like to be loved, ADHD at all, to be loved and accepted. You still have that movie going on in your head that I'm annoying to adults. I can still hear that you believe that. So you feel like you have to do an exchange. Like, at Christmas time, a lot of us did bake cookies and we had a cookie exchange. Well, you're doing an exchange. You're giving gifts or overextending yourself in hopes of getting love and acceptance from others.
Yeah, so people won't push you away, have that uncomfortable feeling of, am I talking too much? Am I being too weird? Am I being too awkward? I'm an adult with ADHD who didn't know she had it as a kid either. And as you were talking, I was like, oh, yeah, that's how it happened. So I used to say I love to have my plate overflowing. Things need to be falling off of it for me to be content. And I'll be 55 next month. And so I don't have the energy I used to have. And so during the pandemic, there was a lot more work for us as therapists. And I think I hit my wall. And I realized I have to say no to some things. So what I decided to do was I take a look at every decision I'm going to make, and I say, am I doing this for me, or am I performing for someone else?
For a cookie.
And if I'm performing to get a cookie, I have to decide, is this me saying yes to something that means I have to say no to something that I really do need to do, want to do, or God is calling me to do? It took some time. It took me choosing. Last year, my word was presence and present. It took me spending the year committed to being present in every moment. And guess what? If you're overcommitted, you can't be present, because while you're in the midst of one thing, you're preparing and thinking about the next thing. And so we miss out on a lot of things, and we don't remember a lot of things. People are like, oh, do you remember back in 4 years ago? We didn't know. I don't remember because I wasn't even mentally present. I was busy doing something else. So there's not an easy path to it. You could also consider therapy. And I don't know if you've ever been treated for your ADHD. There are some medications out there, non-stimulant medications that can be helpful. But really, say that again?
I am taking something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and listen, we're down to like the last few seconds, so I don't want to run out, but I just want to, I identify what you're saying. And I also think that we have to be focused on who God says we are. Because in this process of understanding, we can have that I'm annoying or I'm fully loved and accepted by God, and try to integrate that into our thinking while we're looking at, assessments for ADD and medicine. And it's all part of a big puzzle.
I see it as a superpower. My ADHD allows me to do things that others can't even fathom. People used to say, how do you get all that done? I don't even think about it. I just do, and I do the next thing. Yeah. So I see it as a gift, and I don't allow people to shame me for it. My brain is made differently. I'm neurodivergent.
Yeah,
what
yeah.
I do.
Well, we are so glad.
Let's send her the book, Understanding
Yes.
and Loving Someone with ADD. And Valerie,
I
I
love
want
that.
you to read it and love yourself, girl.
I love that. I love that. And happy 2023. This is the end of the year, but we're going to be back next year. Tomorrow is the beginning of the end. And we'll have a great new year with you guys. Thanks, Sheri.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
listening.
Jacqui.
We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again on Monday for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.